When I first went on study abroad, I was super excited. Everyone always tells you it is the best experience of your life, and you won't want to come home by the time it's over. I was excited to experience this new culture, these new people, and especially the history of where I was staying. So I finally got off my flight, made my way to my dorm, and I remember looking out the window for the first time and just getting this feeling of dread. I was alone in a country I had never been in. I didn't know anybody. I was just thinking, what had I gotten myself into? So I called my family up and I said, to be honest, I don't know if I made the right choice. So my sister called me back and said, well, I went on study abroad and I had the same feelings at first. You feel alone, you feel scared, but you'll adapt and you'll have a great time. So the first week went on. I met some very nice people. I saw some beautiful sights, but there was almost this veil over my eyes as if I wasn't really experiencing what I was seeing. People would always ask, how's study abroad going? What are you seeing? What are you doing? Are you having a good time? And there's such a pressure on you in study abroad to have this fantastic life-changing experience. So I would just kind of smile and nod. I would post pictures on social media detailing the places I went, but all of it was really quite hollow. I felt extremely lost and like I didn't have a purpose. I wasn't enjoying my classes. I was having trouble making connections, and I overall just was desperate to go home. My family had spent so much money on this trip, on my college, and the education I was receiving, and I was afraid that going home would make me a failure. So after 2.5 months abroad, I reached a point that I think was finally my breaking point. I felt like there was no escape. Like, if I went home, I was a failure, but if I stayed, I would have to continue to be miserable and alone. So I called up my therapist and I told him how I really felt. And this was a point where him and I together decided I needed to go home. This meant I would not receive any of the credits I had worked hard on in my classes. I would have to retake this semester. But I was just so desperate to get out of the situation, it didn't matter anymore. So 2 days later, I was on a plane home. I told all my friends I was leaving. I told my flatmates why I had to go. And on social media, I made a post saying, for health reasons, I will be coming home early. So it has been a month since I came home, and people will still ask me how my study abroad was. And it's still a very tough question for me to answer because I was in a beautiful place and I saw beautiful things I will never forget. But it just wasn't the right time for me to do what I was doing. In the end, I had to figure out that my mental and physical health were what were most important in the situation, and that sometimes what everyone else does is not what you need to do. Do things at your own pace, because sometimes your pace is different from what other people expect it to be.